but it's free, so anyone can access it. You can Amplify unit and
We are Amplify.
We are Amplify.
We are Amplify.
We are Amplify.
Welcome to Equalize, which is part of the Lancashire Music Hub's Youth Voice programme, Amplify, that's been running since 2018. My name is Rachel and I work for More Music. And we have with us today Ben.
Hello.
And Darren, Ewan, Jack, and Aaron will be the Equalize team for the day. So I'll just tell you a little bit about Amplify. It was set up in 2018 by the Lancashire Music Education Hub to make sure that young people, so you guys, have a voice and can influence strategic change in Lancashire. So we've been through a number of phases. It's been going since 2018. We started bringing a group of young people together who created a manifesto about what they believe music education should be. And then the same group conducted a piece of research across Lancashire with 400 young people and teachers to find out their opinions about music education, their experiences, what they thought about it. And then the pandemic hit. So we took everything online and we commissioned 4 young people to create 4 pieces of content. So Aaron was one of them, who made a music video, and some people made some podcasts, and you'll get to see them a little bit. And they were exploring the 4 key topics that came out of the research. And then we did a conference in November, similar to this, and now we're here.
My name is Ben Rapp. I work for Lancashire Music Service. I'm just going to try to explain the concept of a music education hub. Music education hubs are now 10 years old, and they are set up around England. There's 123 of them, to try and join up schools with services and organisations that work with music education or deliver music education. The lead partner for the Music Education Hub is Lancashire Music Service, who I work for. And we have core partners, which are More Music, of which you'll see the lovely t-shirts and jumpers, and who some of these guys work for. And also an online partner, a digital partner, which is called Charanga, which provide resources and support to teachers around the country, and actually around the world now. So those organisations make up the Music Education Hub. We receive funding from the Department for Education, and we basically work across Lancashire to try and support schools, teachers, pupils to engage in music and provide opportunities for pupils to become the musicians they want to be in the future. That's a short summary of what hubs do. I hope that makes sense. It's great to see you all today. We are here to get your feedback and get your ideas about what music education you've received so far in your lives, what you think of it, what's good, what's not so good, what's missing, what can we try and create in the future to really engage more young children and young people in music going forward. Hope you have a great morning. Thank you.
So before I hand over to Jack and Aaron, I'll just tell you about the 4 areas that we're going to talk about today. So out of the research that we did, there were 4 key kind of focus areas that came out, and they were the averageness of music education. So the people that we surveyed, some thought it was amazing or awesome was the scale. Some were like, but the majority of it it's just average. So we're going to talk about that today and how we can make it better. What there is and what there should be, making music in real life versus online, and then finally career paths. And I think Ben's done the intro about what we want you guys to do, but it's your chance to have your say and share your opinions and experiences about these topics with us today. Fab. So, like Ben said, we want to hear what you think about what works well in regards to your music education, and then what could we be doing differently to support all young people across Lancashire in their music making. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jack and Aaron.
Lancaster Uni, make some noise! Right, I know it's 10 o'clock on a Friday morning, but we can do better than that. Lancaster Uni, make some noise! So that's what this event is about. It's about you making some noise and having a voice. Because the things that you feedback today won't just affect the music education of your generation, but the generation of future musicians. Now you're probably thinking, but I'm just a student. What does my opinion count for? Everything. Because at the end of the day, you've got to fight for your right for music education, but also to party. Now this beautiful man stood on my left is Jack from More Music and the More Media Collective. I'm Aaron, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've been with Amplify since the start of last year. So Jack is going to tell us a bit more about what we're going to be doing today.
Well, as Rachel said before, we're going to be discussing all these different provocations. We're going to get your opinions, bounce them around, we're going to get some feedback and take everything together and hopefully make some changes. So, on to the first one.
Yeah, so the first provocation is the averageness of music education. Now, in the survey that we did, on a scale of 1 being and 5 being buzzing, over 50% said that their music education was average or below. Now, Caitlin, one of the other content creators, produced a podcast where she spoke to different music professionals about how they thought their music education was. Enjoy. Alright, so now that you've listened to that, you're going to discuss how you think your music education is. Now, we're going to have 15 minutes to discuss, and then we're going to feed back your best answers, and then that will all be collated, and yeah, it'll be nice. So, away you go. If you'd like to wrap up, we'll take some feedback. So, we're going to take what you think is your main point, the main thing you changed. So, we're going to start off with this table here.
It would be nice to have more time to do things rather than just like a short period of time to work on a big project. It would be nice to have longer lesson times and maybe an opportunity after school to learn anything.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll go to that table there.
I think there's too much writing and the teachers sometimes know less about music software than the students.
We had some really good discussions about people's experience of making music in primary school and secondary school, and we're even more lucky that we've got students from overseas, so we have sort of some overseas feedback about their music education. The main, I suppose, to sum up the main points, the primary school opportunities were very mixed. So some people had a actual music teacher in their primary school. Some people just had an opportunity once in a while for making music and learning about music. And interestingly, a few people around the table thought primary music making was a little babyish in terms of the instruments they got. So they got maybe glockenspiels, and they wanted some, I wouldn't say proper, can't say proper instruments. They wanted some other instrument choice they could make. And in secondary, it was generally positive in terms of the experience, but everyone wanted more practical music making.
Alright, that's great. And we'll go to that table in the far corner.
I feel like we need more modern genres to study, so instead of spending lots of time on classical music, I feel like we need more modern music which people find interesting and therefore more motivated to actually study.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so now we have the lovely Jack who's going to tell us about what there is and what there should be.
What there is what there should be. We talked a bit about this already, I think, in some of the feedback we just heard. But, you know, learning about those diverse music genres that we want to learn about, learning about different cultures we're interested in, having the access to instruments and equipment, are these the things that you get the freedom to do? Do you get to explore them? We've got a song from Aaron, which is great. Hope you enjoy. Cool. So, hope you get... It's really fun, Aaron. So we're going to give you 20 minutes this time, so get chatting. It sounds like you're having great conversations already. There's some statistics there if you want to refer to as well. So we'll feedback in a minute.
Alright, so we start with that back table there.
I think there should be more band opportunities, including more lyric writing, more knowledge on how to compose music and lyric write. That's it.
Fair enough. We'll go to this table here.
They need more up-to-date software and like more repaired instruments. Some of the instruments and software we have are either outdated or broken. there could be a bigger range of them as well for some schools. There needs to be a broader variety of music genres to learn, because lower down in school you're not given really much freedom as to what you want to learn. And I think there should be more performance opportunities outside of school as well. You need more opportunities to write and create your own music rather than learn something set to you. And you probably could do this by raising interest for the subject, which would probably raise funding for it as well.
Alright, great. Yeah, we'll go to this table.
I think what we'd want, or what there should be, would be like more opportunities to make music, and more places to play music, definitely, like band opportunities and more instruments to play, and definitely more advanced playing opportunities and more advanced learning.
Brilliant. And finally, this table here again.
Less coursework would definitely be better, because it means more people will want to take it like GCSE and like A level. That'd definitely be better, I think. Yeah.
All right, great.
Erin, do we want to hear, do the teachers want to say anything? Because I think it's really important to hear from teacher voice as well.
So I think part of the problem is that we're often small departments, and we are kind of where we are at our school, we're at the other end of school. And so you're saying kind of, you know, more opportunities to play things and play instruments, and you need to have the space to be able to do that. So a part of it is investment by the leadership team in the school to value the arts, to actually recognise that what we do day in, day out matters. And also perhaps to consider music as more of an academic subject than perhaps it currently is thought of. It's not just a hobby subject that people go and do in their lunch times or after schools. Actually, what we do day in, day out really affects kind of, you know, how we learn and the way that we learn and the way our brains work. So music and learning music is an incredibly important and valuable skill. And it gives us so much in communication with other people. You know, sometimes students can be a little bit disengaged, they don't perhaps want to converse, they might not be able to, but they can talk to each other through music. So I think the young man over there saying, you know, kind of more opportunity to play is right. And it, you know, is there a way that we can somehow get more with the time that we have? And we have no year 9, we have a music on a carousel. So we only have year 8 and year 9, year 7 and year 8 music. And then we're on a carousel in year 9, and I know some schools are even worse off than that. So that's part of our recruitment problem for GCSE and A-level, is that we're not seeing enough music taught during lower school. So yeah, I think if more investment, more opportunities, bigger buildings, you know, we're always so squeezed for space, and time, you know, just time to make music together, and it all helps, doesn't it? Over to you.
We've actually got that. We've just had a huge investment at our school, and we have now a brand new building with excellent facilities in there. And our curriculum is quite different to probably how it was for our current year 11. So we've made some quite significant changes to our curriculum, and we do now pretty much performing courses all the way through year 7, 8 and 9. So the expectation is that they are playing and performing, and there's very little written work to be done in the lesson. So they either learn skills on the ukulele or the guitar or the chair drumming, and it's all performance based with the idea that they're gaining the skills then in order to have those skills to be able to, you know, to make the bands. But there's the sense of commitment that I think sometimes is often missed a bit, because in order to commit to being in a band, you have to be able to rehearse, and you have to be able to be there, you know, daily or weekly, and so that the progress can be made there. And that's a huge commitment from all of the students that either in bands or groups or whatever. And sometimes the pressure from other parts of the school in terms of other academic subjects is that actually you haven't got the time to do that because you need to be here or there or wherever, wherever you need to be. So it becomes something that isn't as you were saying, isn't a high priority. And that, again, is a leadership aspect where they need to consider that actually maybe the creative arts should be your highest priority, with everything else falling in around it. And that maybe then you'll get different challenges within people connecting to groups and so on.
Alright, thanks for that feedback, guys. So we're going to take a 10-minute break and then we'll be back for the next half of this event. Alright everyone, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your little break. So now we're going to be talking about IRL versus URL, which is in-person versus online education. Now, we've had to change this because it was kind of outdated. So it's now, what have we learned from lockdown? Now, we found that the most popular way to get involved in music was in school, but the second most popular way was online. Now, we don't know if you've noticed, there's been a bit of a pandemic in between now and that survey. So that number of 37%, probably a lot higher. So what we're looking at is, we've all had to get used to working online during COVID, but what worked well and what should we keep? So we're going to be listening to a little presentation from the More Media Collective, and then we'll discuss it. Alright, so having listened to that, and going off this stat here, which I will say again, that number of 37%, probably a lot higher now, what can we keep from learning online? Or what do we think works as well? What can we keep? What can we carry over? You've got, we'll say 15 minutes to discuss, and then we'll feedback again. Alright everyone, we're going to do the feedback now. So we'll start off with this table here.
Well, we firstly thought about like the awareness that came about free resources during lockdowns, about how like video tutorials on how to create your own music and stuff were found more commonly, and we thought that was a really good thing that we could perhaps keep. And how people could make music that they wanted to make a lot more. Yeah, there's like, people might not have had the space to create music at home though, and that was an issue. They might have not had the instruments or the correct resources they needed. So.
Alright, we'll go to this table over here.
For online learning, it was like not as easy to sort of communicate with your friends and stuff, because they like not having to turn the camera on, so you can like bounce ideas off of each other. But for music, as in like the lesson wise, it wasn't really much different, because well, for me personally, we weren't really doing any sort of instrument based learning. It was all sort of computer based anyway. But yeah, I think it was just less anxiety and stuff, so asking your teacher for help and stuff like that. So yeah.
Alright, great. We'll go to that corner in the far table.
I feel like you lost a lot of the interactive side when you're online, so you lose a lot of the performing side. But it was easier to look online for other videos, which made the learning the theory side a lot easier, I think.
And finally, we have this table.
You don't get the full engagement online that you did in actual lessons, like face with somebody, and you probably wouldn't be able to see the technique that they're using properly if it's in a video, like online. But you're allowed to like find specific things that you wanted to learn, like online, by looking up like a specific song, and you're able to watch performances as well.
Alright, great. We will move swiftly on to career paths.
Cool, so career paths in music. As part of this, I want to know about the career paths you do know about. So, I mean, everyone knows about performers, everyone knows about songwriters and probably composers too, but what are those other areas that you'd like to know more about, and how do you think your school could better prepare you for them and send you into these career paths? And would the knowledge of these make music as a career more acceptable to you, or more justifiable to, say, your families? So we're going to show you a little bit of a clip from a podcast now, and then you can discuss. So thank you.
Alright, so now that you've listened to that, what do you think your school can do to help you with a career path in music, if that's something that you like? So we're going to give you 20 minutes because it is quite broad, and then we'll get back and do some feedback. All right. We're going to start feedback with that table over there.
I think we need more info in what careers you can do in music. I feel like we also need to know how to sell ourselves, so for interviews and stuff, how to do interviews, how to conduct interviews. I think we also need to learn about stage presence and how to sell yourself as a performer, because I don't think there's enough of that. And about branding and stuff as well, that's quite important. Yeah.
Yeah, great. We'll go to this corner down here.
We had a surprise because we came expecting just to have a bunch of people who just wanted to perform, but it's turned out that we were all very different and we all want to do different careers. So we've got people who want to do production, people who want to do sound design, and everything around performers as well. So I think a bit more awareness of what the other jobs in the music industry are, whether you know, if you're not as much of a performer, there's still opportunities out there and they're realistic. You don't have to just do maths or any of those kind of academic subjects. It's a realistic opportunity and you should go for it, I think. That's what we need to learn.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll go to that table there.
So we need to promote things because there are more careers in the industry than just a singer. For example, technician, producer, promoter, what's that? Sound check. You could talk to people. So, for example, being someone who likes metal, I might find somewhere where I could like join a band or something. And what else? I think that's about it, basically.
I think that it'd be a good idea to sort of set up events sort of biannually where people in the Northwest come together, like different jobs in the music industry, so that young people can sort of learn sort of what career paths there are, as well as seeing who is needed for everything that comes together with an event, such as like security guards, and then there's also roadies, which people tend to overlook when you're at a festival. But there's the sort of things that are sort of behind the scenes but keep the whole thing running together.
Great. And lastly, we'll go to this table in the middle. It's quite expensive to get started because you need like the instruments and the software and stuff to actually start it. And if you don't believe in yourself, you might not get far with it, and it just wastes all money on trying to get it started and it doesn't go anywhere. And also, people think about trying to get into like touring stage, being a solo artist or in a band, and it's a lot easier to get into like commercial use, like making music for like things like games and movies and stuff. All right, brilliant.
It sort of seems like a hit and miss in the industry because you're never guaranteed to make money with you've got to be different with the music you play or like compose.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, thanks for all your responses today, guys. Just before we hand back over to Rachel, we just want to say that all of the content that you've seen today is available in full on the Lancashire Music Service YouTube channel. So that's youtube.com/Lancashire Music Service. And after this event, we're going to be doing some vox pops, some pieces to camera of what you thought of the event, maybe your feedback for us. And yeah, so I'll hand you back over to Rachel.
Can we give, please, Jack and Aaron a round of applause for this? We've been doing it all week, so we have been on our own little and I think done excellently. So yeah, thank you again for all your brilliant ideas and feedback and being so open and honest with us today. We're going to collate everything from this week and then take it forward, which leads me to our phase 4 of Amplify, which is that we are going to create a youth board, an Amplify youth board, and there'll be a group of young people to make sure that young people are still involved in making decisions about music education in Lancashire. So on your tables you might see some little slips, and if not I'll hand some out. So if you're interested at all and you want to sign up to register your interest, what we're going to have is an away day in, I think probably after Easter, where we'll all come together at County Hall in Preston. And I was thinking about this, maybe like don't worry about getting there, I'm sure we can get people to that, and that'll be an opportunity to find out more about the board. But some of the things that you might, that you'll get the opportunity to do is to continue to have regular contact with the Hub Strategic Board and Music Service Managers like Ben. You'll feedback to the music education about and help to evaluate the work. There's some funding to generate new ideas for projects. You'll continue to run events like this and consult with other groups of young people across the county. You'll act as amazing ambassadors for the value of music education. You'll have the opportunity to work with other youth voice groups from around the UK, and also to develop those essential transferable skills like teamwork, communication and confidence. So if you're interested and you want to find out more about the board, you can either sign up on the bits of paper on the table, or there is an online link that we'll send round after this event to your teachers. And thank you again. To have a round of applause for everybody.
Thanks very much, guys. It's been brilliant to get your feedback, and like Aaron said at the beginning, we are genuinely interested in hearing your ideas and putting your voices forward, and how we take music education forward in the future.
I liked the fact that young people are actually getting their voices heard about the music industry, because people seem to think you're a bit young to really understand what you want to do when you're older. About 16, you're sort of expected to make a decision. So the fact that we're having a little bit more insight and a little bit more of an understanding, like both ways through people communicating with us and us communicating back, really sort of enlightens young people as to what they want to do when they're older.
I like discussing the topics because it's sort of other people's perspectives on like what they did in school and how we can change it.
I've enjoyed like having a voice and saying like how I really feel about sort of the situation at school, because it feels like I have no one to talk to at school about it. So it's been good to sort of share my opinion. The key thing I took away from today was there's always sort of more to improve on, I mean, especially like with school. So if sharing my voice would help out, then it's always better to do so.
There's more underneath the surface than what meets the eye, which sort of broadens the horizon and enlightens more young people.
I've enjoyed learning about potential career options, learning about what other careers you can have. I've enjoyed discussing it with other people. There's actually a lot of careers you can take in music, which I didn't realise you could at first.